Yo, what's up, people? This is your host, Bernardo, and this is my YouTube channel called Amazing Entertainment, where I talk about comic books, video games, and collectibles. Now, this is my first video I'm doing, but I kind of wanted to introduce myself to you and talk a little bit about myself and how I got into comics and video games. So, first off, I'll talk about how I got into comics. Video games is pretty much similar. But, it started off back in elementary school around 5th grade. So this is like over 25 years ago. I met a kid from school. Growing up, I kind of bounced from school to school. So I didn't have like friends. I mean, I did make friends easily. But I've got into this new school. And I remember being in 5th grade, this kid showed me his collection of cards. Now, before that, I would go down to the corner carryout and pick up like baseball, football, basketball cards. And I thought they were cool. I mean, I like the graphics in them, but I wasn't like a hardcore sports guy. But I remember this dude in my class, he had Marvel trading cards that were like a Marvel 1991 series. They would have like a picture on the front, like a drawing of like, say, Captain America. And then on the back, it would have like kind of a brief description about him, some stats, his superpowers, his alias, what book he first appeared in, all that kind of stuff. And that was like my first like introduction to like Marvel Comics. I started collecting those. I remember going to the grocery store with my parents, and I would pick up those packs of cards there. And that was really how I started getting familiar with all the characters. And while I was at the grocery store, I noticed they had like a little small swivel rack that had some comic books on it. So I bought a couple of those. Started getting into that a little bit. I remember going into 6th grade. I met a buddy of mine. We became like best friends. We'd walk around the neighborhoods and stuff. And there was like an antique store just across from the carryout. And we'd go in there, and they had like old toys and antiques and stuff like that. But he had like a magazine rack that had a bunch of comics on there. And I like got into the Punisher, Ghost Rider, some Batman, Superman, all that kind of stuff, Infinity War. So also around this time, the X-Men cartoon on Fox was out every Saturday morning, so I was watching that. I was watching the Batman animated cartoon, and I started getting more and more into comics. As time went on, there was a comic book shop that popped up that was on my route home from school, and I would go in there just about every day. I would buy books, buy trading cards, all that kind of stuff, buy a magazine called Wizard, and they kind of like talked about comic book news and creators. Started getting familiar with that. It also piqued my interest in art. I started drawing more and kind of wanting to draw my own comic book characters and stuff like that. So like going into middle school, I started doing more drawings and art stuff. And my collection was probably like around like 100 comics or so. And I kind of backed off of buying the books when I got into high school. I played football, sports, did some other after school stuff. I still kept with my drawing because I really liked drawing. I ended up taking a lot of art classes in my high school, and that's kind of what I wanted to do, was either be like a comic book artist or a tattoo artist or something of that nature. So as my life progressed on, I didn't go to college right away. I kind of bounced around, did other jobs. I did eventually land an apprenticeship in a tattoo shop, and I did that for a little bit. Met the mother of my child. We got married, had a kid, all that stuff. So like things like that kind of kept me from collecting. But I always had my core comics, which were my X-Men comics and my Wolverine comics. And you know, I always kind of went back and add a little bit here, a little bit there. I always liked Wolverine for some reason. You know, this was before the movies came out and all that kind of stuff. And as time went on, you know, I thought it was really cool that they came out with movies and stuff like that. I didn't think that would ever happen. But, like, in today's day and age, like, everyone's a comic book fan. Everybody's got a Marvel shirt on or a DC shirt on or whatever, which is really cool because, you know, I never thought that it was going to be to that level. I always felt like it was kind of like I was a nerd and I was okay with that. But that it was like never gonna get to this kind of like pop culture phenomenon that it is today. One of the reasons why I really love comics is because I feel like it's a visual medium, and you know, you can immerse yourself. You feel like you're there when you're reading the books and stuff, and it's also very inspiring to see all these different artists that are talented, and it makes me want to like try to achieve that level of talent in my own works, whether it be portraits or whatever I'm doing. And so I always kind of looked at comics from a visual standpoint, and of course stories are very important too, but it was, you know, kind of like an escape of reality, to get away from the everyday mundane things in our life that, you know, day in day out we do all the time. Like currently, I work in a factory assembly, and it's every day I'm doing the exact same thing. And I have a lot of free time to think about a lot of other stuff. And so collecting now, like I do, it kind of relieves some of that. And I have something to look forward to, you know, to read this book, read this story. And I think in today's time, it's the perfect time to be a fan. Currently, I don't have a massive collection, but my collection is growing. As you can see, I have some short boxes down there, my long boxes up here. They're mostly X-Men books. I do have a little bit of Spawn, a little bit of Batman, stuff like that. As the channel goes on, I plan on, I have some goals for myself when it comes to collecting. I want to get some of my keys here. I've kind of taken them out of the long boxes because I'm getting ready to send this stuff to CGC, get them graded, and I want to get them slabbed. And then I had planned on up here on the walls putting up shelves up there so that I can display my keys. So that's kind of like what I plan for the future in my collecting. That's like a goal, and I think it's important to have short-term and long-term goals. Like a long-term goal for me would to be get Incredible Hulk 181. Right now, it's kind of like out of my realm of possibility, but down the line, you know, that's something I'm looking forward to. Short-term goals is getting my keys graded, and then eventually I'm going to start adding statues and stuff. I got my little collection of pops up there, and my mini game consoles, and you know, I'm going to be making this arcade room, but right now it's still kind of in the process, in the works. But I do, once I get things set up, I will be doing a walkthrough of my game room / comic book room. And in the future, I plan on doing more videos talking about my next ones I'm going to be doing here, about tips on collecting, as far as like reading your books, stuff like that. So they, for some of you people who are new to it, you know, may have some questions, but you know, I'm gonna wrap this video up here. if you could, leave a like and subscribe. Hit the bell. Yeah, it's down here somewhere, down there, for notifications in the future. And I will hit you up with some new content. And thanks for watching. Peace.